Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
After Pharaoh kicked Abram out of Egypt, I imagine the long trip back to Canaan seemed pretty icy, even when traveling through the hot desert. Sarai would not have been very pleased with Abram for claiming that she was his sister and letting Pharaoh of Egypt take her into his harem. I'm thinking Abram returned to his promised land with his tail tucked between his legs. He'd failed God, his wife, and really the whole household, including his nephew Lot and all of their servants, as they watched their godly master slip and fall. So he returned a humbled but rich man. Where did God lead him? Bethel, which means the house of God. God brought him back to where he had experienced him in the past. This area would play an important part in several Old Testament stories with Abram's descendants. This was the place where he'd built an altar and called on the name of the Lord before. So Abram revisits the site once again and calls on the name of the Lord. I've known people who have admitted, yes, I need to get back to church. Maybe they've grown up in the church or were saved as a young adult, but they strayed away or got busy or just got out of the habit of going during COVID. So when I invite them to church, they sigh, look rather wistful, and say, yeah, I really ought to get back to church. But very few of them ever follow through and actually come, unless they have a crisis in their lives. But then God uses those difficult times, like Abram's low here, to bring them back to Him and welcome them back into the family. Wasn't God gracious to give Abram a second chance? He'd strayed off the path of following the Lord, but the Lord didn't leave him. He stayed with Abram and Sarah in Egypt, taught Abram lessons, and brought him back full circle. We might think, what a waste of time. He ended up right where he started. But that's the grace of the whole thing. God allowed him to go right back to where he started, and the time wasn't wasted because Abram learned more of who God was, this God that he left home to follow. He found Yahweh to be his and Sarai's protector. He learned God is in control even when we mess up royally. He learned his God was with him wherever he went. He learned he shouldn't focus on his fears and the what-ifs of his life, but trust his God. On his trip home, perhaps in the midst of this silent treatment from his wife, Abram had time to sort all this out and meditate on what it really meant to follow Yahweh. We know this because of what happens next. Abram's spiritual maturity level rises to new heights as he handles challenges in a way that pleases God. So no, his failure wasn't wasted. What has God taught you from your failures? What can you learn from Abram's failures and apply to your life so you won't have to learn them the hard way?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.